18 Shiloh. We're on Facebook Live. If this doesn't come back, we're on Facebook Live. All right? Because I know for sure I still have some battery power on that.
Do you need me to plug your phone up?
We're not going to be able to set it there and plug it up. I think it's okay.
Okay.
Now, I want to tell you this. That's where I show my tornado. This is pretty interesting up here on the north side of Elvis Presley Lake as well. This is clearly where my tornado is, but that's a fairly strong rotation up north as well. So, I mean, there's some wind damage potential there at the very least on that, but right over top of the Deer Park subdivision, damaging tornado on the ground right now. If you live south and west of Veterans, certainly if you live west of US 45, you can come out of that tornado safe place. But this is just northeast of the intersection of Veterans and I-22 and Tupelo, approaching Elvis Presley Lake, where 2014 went up here a little north. This one is on the south side of Elvis Presley Lake. It's going a little more northeast than the last one did for it to make up so much ground and get this far north. So look at the wind mode here. I mean, it's a strong tornado. Lake Piamingo still in the path of this. I'm going to move along County Road 931 here toward Eggville. Call my wife, make sure she lets our sitter know.
Okay.
She sometimes loses track. We'll call her, make sure our sitter knows. This is heading that way. Okay, we have our tornado now. I show just now past that Deer Park subdivision. Not as impressive on here as it was. Again, we'll look a long ways up. Two areas of circulation here, I would say at this moment. It becomes clear which one has caused damage, and it's the southern one of these, and unfortunately that tells us Deer Park Road there. That's that subdivision we were worried about a moment ago there with a damage return coming in, approaching County Road 931. Let's get our arrow out here. How long to 931? We're looking at 1 minute for you. It's over top of Elvis Presley Lake. If it were to make it to Lake Piamingo, we're now down to 2 minutes for you. So this is a damaging tornado. Tupelo Fire Department can confirm visual of the tornado on the ground near North Veterans and I-22. That coming in at 10:08, current time is 10:09. So Tupelo Fire Department can confirm a visual report of the tornado on the ground near North Veterans and I-22. No damage reports as of yet. That coming from law enforcement. Appreciate them, those folks out there risking their lives at this moment. Let's talk tornado safety rules on what we have. We have this, a tornado that has touched down maybe multiple times in the city of Tupelo. It might be one complete damage track, it might be multiple. Doesn't matter. It's been tornado damage. Happened in Calhoun City, happened in Southern Pontotoc County, now Tupelo. The question is it going to continue to Lake Piamingo, to Eggville, to Centerville, to Shiloh, to Manatachee? Remains a very real possibility for those folks that could be what's in your future. That's why if you are in the path of this, for some of those locations, you need to find your safe place. That's a sturdy structure in the middle of the lowest floor. A small windowless room, wrap up in blankets and pillows, put on a helmet to protect yourself from debris, and stay there until we can give you the all clear. As we go back to the rainfall mode on Storm Track Doppler radar, still definitely showing the circulation on that. As we go back to the wind mode here, I'm going to get you a longer storm track. We need some times here just in case we lose power again. I'm still shocked that we're on right now. 2 minutes in Lake Piamingo, Eggville 7 minutes, Unity in 10 minutes, Ratcliffe in 13 minutes, Kirksville in 20 minutes, 26 minutes in Sandy Springs, Moores Mill in 32 minutes, and Bay Springs Lake in 38 minutes. This is Doppler radar indicated rotation. This is damage reported on Storm Track Doppler radar, and it could be a deadly situation if you don't respect it. Now, one thing that looks encouraging for the moment on this is that my tornado debris signature is smaller. See this? Less of the dark blue than just a moment ago there, right? Less than the scan before that, and less than the scan before that. So we believe we had this touchdown at least in the north central part of Tupelo again, and probably southwest Tupelo. We had some damage look like there as well. We had reports just 4 minutes ago when it was I-22 and Veterans of this tornado being on the ground. That report probably took a minute or two to come in, so about 10:06. Now this time we show it near Lake Piamingo. Still debris showing up. Hopefully tornado has weakened a little bit, but this has been a cyclical thunderstorm. It's gone through a cycle. Unlike any cycle, cycles repeat. And so this has repeated multiple times here. We believe it's probable that we should assume that this could produce another tornado with very little warning. The fact that it went through probably either one tornado all the way through Tupelo or two tornadoes over the course of its track through Tupelo tells you that it's on kind of a rapid cycle for doing this. We do have reports from law enforcement of roofs possibly off of houses in East Tupelo related to this. Now, where in East Tupelo, that remains a question at this point, but law enforcement reporting houses with no longer having at least parts of their roof on them in East Tupelo. We're working to confirm that with the folks in the newsroom. Of course, we'll have updates here as that becomes available. Let's take 2 seconds. Let's go wide. Let's make sure we're not missing something else on what is a tornado emergency that does continue up here for Lee County. A long-lived thunderstorm produced tornado damage in Calhoun City. It produced tornado damage in southern Pontotoc County and multiple instances of tornado damage within the city of Tupelo. An adjustment to our graphic here, and I'll pan this back out. You saw we went from a pink tornado warning to a red one a moment ago there. The description observed from the National Weather Service is the way to describe this. That still a situation that you need to be taking seriously, but that is a downgrade from tornado emergency. A couple of reasons why. Number one, because we're no longer in a population center. Number two, because it's probable that our tornado has at least briefly lifted. But the reason is still an observed tornado, even if it might have lifted, is because we still see debris there. And so there's no guarantees that it is fully lifted, and it is possible, if not probable, that it will put down another tornado here fairly soon. As we look at the wind mode and storm track Doppler radar, it might be doing that right now. Near County Road 1562. Again, bright green return there. That's where our tornado attempting to strengthen once again and possibly track along County Road 1766 toward the Eggville community. Did you happen to get a hold of my wife?
Yes, and she's letting her know.
Okay, good. So moving toward Eggville area in about 5 minutes or so is when it should be to Eggville. Let's go ahead and assume it's a little closer than that. We'll say 4 minutes into Eggville, moving towards Shiloh Road and Reynolds Road there in about 6 minutes. It'll be approaching, it's just south of Lake Piemingo right now, assuming Doppler radar is perfect, which it is not. County Road 1409, I see down there at the bottom, within about 1 to 2 minutes from you. Chelsea, go ahead.
On 3, there's
Okay.
an MDOT traffic screenshot of 22 and veterans right before it went out.
Oh, man.
And that's on Twitter.
There you go. What does that look like to you? So there you are. We had tornado. I mean, that's clearly right there, a tornado that caused the damage we were talking about. Roofs reported off, power lines down near Front Street area of Tupelo. So that was pretty much the reason why we were looking at that MDOT cam. I should never have had you change off that MDOT cam. Regardless, I think we all kind of knew what we were dealing with there with a tornado moving through. Just because we didn't get to see it live on air does not really change the fact that it was pretty obvious with that wind shift at Crosstown what we were dealing with and with everything else we saw on Storm Track Doppler radar. So let's get some times here towards Centerville as it moves in your direction there. We're 4 minutes to Eggville. We're 10 minutes to Centerville. A tornado, we believe, could still be on the ground. Let's go back to the debris mode here. It is once again. So if this may be briefly lifted, it has sat back down just south of Lake Piemingo. That is the cyclical nature, the repeating nature of this thunderstorm and what tend to be our most violent thunderstorms where they produce it over and over again. And so that's where our debris is showing up. And let's track it forward. We're going to put on the track where it puts on about every little place that we can try to get on here. So we show Eggville Church at 10:19. Current time is 10:16, so 3 minutes for you. 4 minutes Eggville Free Will Baptist Church, we're at 10:20. Walnut Grove Church, that's a historical location, at 10:23. Centerville, 10:27. 10:27 for Oak Grove Church. Let's track wider here for a brief moment. This is moving along County Road 1766. Lee County Road 1766. We have a tornado we believe to still be on the ground and doing damage at this moment. We have had multiple reports of damage in and around the city of Tupelo. The very early reports. We expect, unfortunately, the number of those will increase over the next few hours here. So we're looking at Ratcliffe in 9 minutes. Kirkville in 16 minutes, Marietta 21 minutes, 30 minutes we'll say in the news site there, Bay Springs Lake 34 minutes, Belmont 39 minutes, Stennis 40 minutes, Red Bay 41 minutes, 45 minutes in Tishmingo. This is just one of those reminders that it's not always a high-end day that has a high-impact result, and that's clearly what has happened here on what were, for most of the evening, very unimpressive thunderstorms, and unfortunately the result has been anything but that. Trees and power lines down in central Tupelo, according to reports. That should not be a shock to anybody, unfortunately. Let's come closer in here to where we have multiple areas of circulation on this thunderstorm. One just north of Lake Piemingo, and then the one we believe to be a tornado on the ground near County Road 1766 to the east of Lake Piemingo, right there along 1766, where you can kind of just see on the rainfall mode there wrapping around. I'm going to take this to I'm going to blur it out a little bit, and the reason we're going to blur it out is sometimes when you do that, you can actually, believe it or not, pick out something. I don't want to go quite that far. But you can sometimes, well, maybe this time it's not going to work out as well. Nope, not this time. Okay, never mind. Sometimes you can see it rotating a little better on there, but that's where it is. Along 1766, moving northeastward. Still tornado debris showing up, not quite what it was just a moment ago, so hopefully this was a briefer tornado there. Trees and road signs reported down to east-northeast to Tupelo. That would probably be pretty close, just based on where that is there to the Veterans Road area in Tupelo. So that's, there you go. 1766 Eggville, we're within about 2.5 minutes for you as this moves towards Shiloh, Centerville, in your general direction there, near moving toward Mantachie Creek Road in that direction. So we show Mantachie Creek Road no more than 5 minutes away. And Mississippi Highway 363, that would be the part that goes south. It goes east out of Saltillo and then south down through Centerville and into Mantachie. That's where we're looking at there. The path of this might take it a little north of Midtown Mantachie, relative term obviously, but for some of those Mantachie addresses up here north, you're definitely in the path of this within the next 5 to 7 minutes as it moves toward you. A damaging tornado, believed to potentially be on the ground still at this moment here. Let's go ahead and go to wind here. One of the things that concerns me is this is kind of wrapping back around while I am concentrated right here in 1766. There's no guarantees it's not still trying to form more on the north side there. The fact that I can even debate it at all is an excellent thing. Okay, then there's that tornado report coming in a second ago. Speaking to some of those reports, we'll put some of those on here. Of course, as you can see, the National Weather Service already getting at least one of those reports logged in here. Trees and power lines down central Tupelo. So the time will probably be adjusted there. That 10:17 was the time it was reported as opposed to the time that it actually occurred. I'm Chief Meteorologist Matt Lawpon alongside our meteorologist Chelsea Brown. We're tracking a storm that has produced multiple tornadoes over the course of the last couple hours here. We know we have had a confirmed damaging and potentially large tornado that moved through the Tupelo area. We are early in this process. We will have more information as we go forward. We don't know if we have injuries at this point, but we do know that law enforcement is on the scene of locations where people are going to be picking up for a while. These folks need our prayers. This is a situation where lives have changed, and if you live ahead of this, we don't want this to be a situation where lives end. So please take this seriously, knowing its history of producing multiple tornadoes. It doesn't have to be a long tornado to be one that causes significant impact for you. So I'm going to track really along this whole line here from up along 363 down the road 1498 as we cross over the Itawamba-Lee County line. We show Eggville at 10:21. Current time is 10:20. This has been where the existing tornado has tracked. Then we have along 363. This is where we could see a little bit of strengthening occurring right now. That's moving more toward Unity. That would be at about 10:23. And then the Centerville area, we're looking at you. This, for whatever reason, not on there. But I would have that pretty close to about 10:25, probably at the latest. I want to get Mantachie in this track just in case something changes. I don't want to leave Mantachie off this. They were at 10:27 on this one. It shows Centerville, and Mantachie would show you 10:29. Shiloh 10:25, all in the path of this. I think on the northern part here is where it's strengthening the most. Report coming in from East Tupelo from law enforcement, extensive damage, residential damage around the Elvis Presley Museum area. It's pretty specific there, and that calls into the most important thing I will ever tell you about what we do here and the limits of that. So Elvis Presley Drive right there. This is where it showed the tornado on radar. That's not directly overhead there, right? I mean, if you look at this, it's clearly there. The birthplace is down here. That's close, clearly, within, a half mile, but it's not perfect. Radar is never, no matter how good me, Chelsea, or anybody else is, you're looking at what has happened at a level of the atmosphere. And if it is down there closer to the birthplace, then that's highly unfortunate in comparison to what we did, because the reality is that there's a specificity that we, I guess, push forward when we're tracking this so close, but the reality is that there can be a little difference between that. And sometimes that happens, and hopefully people close to this track. That's why we try to give you these wider tracks, but we're in talking street level. It's not always perfect. Radar is not, never will be completely perfect, no matter how good it is or who is running it. So as we're looking at Storm Track Doppler radar here, we are tracking this towards Sandy Springs, Centerville. The Unity community is where this is probably wrapping up the most. Ratcliffe, 5 minutes view, Centerville in 6 minutes, Sandy Springs in 19 minutes. Doppler radar indicated rotation could potentially be a tornado. This has been a long-lived thunderstorm. It has produced multiple tornadoes over the last couple of hours. It seems reasonable that it could produce another one. When we look at the rainfall mode here, it's not quite as wrapped up and organized as it was just a little bit ago. It's still pretty organized. Oh man, and it's some of these that we track are very, very obvious. This one was obvious, but it was not a giant storm. Yes, Chelsea Brown with monitoring a lot of different factors right now. Go for it.
Tweet from James Bishop with North Mississippi Storm Spotters and Chasers. Power lines down on Fillmore Street in Tupelo. There's a picture. You can go to 3.
Okay, I'll pull it up on 3 there. Okay. Thank you. I'm going to see if I can give me a moment here to pull that bigger. Okay, so power lines down. As you can see, people out. There is going to be a time for helping people. Now is not that time. With power lines down, you drive over those, you walk over those. The absolute last thing we need is to have there's no such thing as a necessary fatality, but there's definitely such thing as an unnecessary one. And so it would be unnecessary to go and try to help right now. Let law enforcement do what they need to do. Let officials turn off gas. Let folks get out there and get power lines shut off. And there will be time to help. Friends and neighbors, we come together. That's what we do. Give it a little bit of time to make sure those folks can get and do what they need to do to make sure that we can keep folks safe. But that's sad situation there. But that's unfortunately the way things have played out with this storm this evening as it continues to move toward Mantachie. I'd still say in the path of this. The circulation, the long-lived circulation is a little north of that. Yeah, I'd show it closer to Unity in 363. This is where this is about to start going again. Let's make sure that's where they're at. Located near 8 miles southeast of Baldwin. Okay, that's I'm just checking with the Weather Service and where they're putting it. They're putting it at the same spot we're looking at here. So not long. 363. Potential this could be a tornado redeveloping again. Hold on, is that our debris? Let's check it near County Road 1970. Yeah, that's where our circulation had gone. That's still the circulation there. So we talked about tracking a little north. That's it right there. Latest scan, not quite as impressive as the last one. Yeah, pretty much right where that arrow was is where we'd have our circulation. Near Ratcliffe and moving toward Unity. Let's get a longer track ahead of this. Let's go back to the rainfall mode. Let's get a longer track ahead of this. Get as many folks ahead of this as we can as that moves toward Tishomingo. Eventually maybe 38 minutes if it continues at the speed we're going right now for Tishomingo. Denison 34 minutes, but it's on you in Unity. It's near you, pretty much on you in Ratcliffe, assuming I got the spot right, which there is a little bit of difference, clearly. Centerville, 4 minutes, 9 minutes. Kirkville, Marietta in 14 minutes. Sandy Springs in 16 minutes. New Site, 22 minutes. We're looking toward Belmont eventually in about 32 minutes. If your signal goes out, we are streaming live, of course, at WTVA.com, the weather app, but make sure you have multiple ways to find out if you're in the danger zone. If we go off the air for whatever reason, these will save your life. You have more than one, you're guaranteed to get what you need. I would recommend 3, but let's get you to at least 2, and we should be okay if we do that. I'm now seeing, by the way, I'm now finally seeing in that picture you were talking about, Chelsea, the power line down part of it. I had it pulled up here and I didn't see it at the top of the screen. Let me pull that up there. There's the power line down. Clearly the power pole's pulled down. You could see there in the background how it was pulled down. A lot of folks down below that. We don't want that. We need to go back inside. It's dangerous. You don't know if that's going to end up falling. You don't know what's still holding those up. So highly recommend, and clearly the people we're talking to there aren't watching us right now. But yeah, dangerous situation still unfolding in and around the Tupelo area just from the damage we've seen, and potentially a tornado still occurring on that thunderstorm southwest of Marietta, south of Kirkville. This is the Tennessee Tombigbee Waterway right here. So obviously approaching that in the Sandy Springs area. Let's go back to the wind mode here. your Unity and 363, that big curve southward, pretty close to where the 2014 tornado went. That's where this is as well. By the way, reports now coming in of structural damage in West Lee County, a roof off an apartment building near Lee County Road 151 and Highway 6. Oh, geez, I think I know where that is. Lee County 151 and Highway 6. At least I thought I did. No, not popping that on here. But, I mean, that's clearly where this tracked through earlier, right? Right where it came through. Maybe they meant 278. Well, we are going to have crews getting us information. We're continuing to watch that. Of course, we'll have updates going forward related to that. Let's bring us back to where we're at now with the tornado warning continuing. Let's give some all clears for a second. We always say we'll give some all clears. Sometimes we're a little slow on the go on that. If you live in Lee County, you come out of that tornado safe place. This is now crossed into Itawamba County, just northeast of the turn there, where it goes from east-west and north-south along 363. That's where we would have our circulation right now, moving in the direction of Sandy Springs. A tornado potentially still there. We checked the tornado debris signature. We still have that. And in fact, it has intensified. So I think our tornado has set back down at some point here, unfortunately, near Buck Trail. Probably when it was right here near County Road 1970. That's probably where it was. We saw a little bit of debris signature there, and then boom, the latest one near Buck Trail near Ratcliffe. We believe we have a tornado on the ground, Ratcliffe Community. So we have to be in that tornado safe place, the lowest floor of a sturdy structure. This could be, I'm going to pull this down for a second. I want to put a circle on here so we make sure we have exactly where we're talking about. It's right over top of you, Ratcliffe. So this is a tornado that we believe on the ground once again. Sturdy structure. Go to the middle of the lowest floor. Find a small windowless room, wrap up in blankets and pillows, put on a helmet to protect yourself from debris, and stay there until we can give you the all clear. If you live near the Ratcliffe community, that's where we have to be. Where else do we need to be there? If you're upstream of this, Kirkville, we've got to be in that tornado safe place. Marietta, you're in this tornado warning. Folks near Bay Springs Lake, Bloody Springs, also in the path of this as it moves forward toward you. This has a history, a long history, an hours-long history of producing tornado damage. Those reports keep coming in. Reports of trees and road signs down with, from a train spotter in the Tupelo area. They estimated winds at least 60 miles per hour where they are at. There's two types of winds you get out of one of these tornado thunderstorms. You get the winds from the tornado, you get what's called RFD winds, as the tornado's trying to wrap up the winds, shooting out. A lot of times cause most of the severe thunderstorm wind damage out of these kind of thunderstorms. You could have had a combination of both, those winds shooting down as it wraps up the tornado. And as we told you about earlier, more than a couple examples of tornadoes from this. I'm going to pull up a shot here that came in on Twitter a little bit ago, a screenshot, a still photograph. Appreciate Brad for sharing this with us. Still photograph that came in of what was probably that tornado when it approached veterans a little bit ago. I mean, you can clearly see what very possibly was it. Can't say for sure, but with the power outages, with the reports we had, the reality is that the damage reports will continue to come in, and frankly, as long as we can make it through this with just damage reports, and we're not talking about fatalities, we're doing good, especially this time. And I want to bring in our meteorologist, Chelsea Brown, with an update. Chelsea?
I'm just kind of looking at the power outages for Lee County right now.
Those that are 3? Do you have that up on 3?
Yes, I have that up on 3.
Okay, yeah, go for it.
Those that are tracked right now, 554 people without power.
And that'd be the different houses.
Yes.
So and I don't know how many of. I'm gonna minimize that. You might click. It'll give you a list of track providers. See if Tupelo Water Light's on there. I can't remember for sure if Tupelo Water and Light's even.
No,
on
it's
that
just
list.
Tom Bigby.
So that's Tom Bigby. So that does include anybody in the city of Tupelo that have lives that have power outages. To answer that question, we can just simply go to the Tupelo Tower Cam. Let's give it 2 seconds here. Let's rotate it. We're not going to spend a ton of time. It looks like, in particular, there's a lot of central Tupelo that those lights are a lot more dark than they typically are.
I know the power at Crosstown, where it went off at like Walgreens, has come back on.
Okay, so we've at least that's a good sign. If we still have enough infrastructure, we can put that back on some spots. Let's go ahead and Minimize that back again. Let's look here where our tornado is now. So I show it near Houston Palestine Road, near Kirkville. This has moved more north the last couple of scans. Again, kind of like we talked about earlier, when it was Calhoun County, it was really high, and then it got low when it was close to Tupelo. Now we're getting higher and higher again, the way the radar is looking. And checking for debris, there's not as much there as there was a minute ago. You had that debris signature near Ratliff, right? And then as that circulation kind of moved northward, we show less of that debris. It's kind of spread out and broadened somewhat. So actually, let me clear that off. Let's go ahead and put a better, broader circle on there. And the reason wider is better in this case is it gives us an idea. It really hits the fact that the specificity on this, especially when these broaden, is a little bit lower. So that's where we'd have it, near Houston Palestine Road, south of Kirkville. So clearly, if you live in Kirkville, we need to be in the lowest floor of a sturdy structure. I believe this is the Natchez Trace Parkway there. So just the way the angles work on the trace, it was west of the trace for quite a while. It's crossed east of it. Now it's going to probably cross near and track along it when it moves up toward Bay Springs Lake, if it continues at that road there. Nope. We're going to go ahead and keep, if your signal goes out, by the way, sometimes your signal at home will go out on NBC and ABC, still be good on Fox. It has to do with Fox is UHF, ABC, NBC, or VHF. That's nerd stuff behind the scenes. The reality of the situation is sometimes that Fox signal is a little bit better, depending on where you're at. So if you lose us on one, try the other. And if you lose us on both and you have internet that can allow it, we're always streaming live on the WTVA news and weather apps. We should be there. Let's double check behind the scenes and make sure one of those power blips didn't take us off there. But I've seen some screenshots, so I'm assuming that we probably are still on there at this time. So let's go back to the wind mode here on Storm Track Doppler radar. That, of course, I mentioned Houston Palestine Road there. You can see kind of lighting up there. This is Natchez Trace Parkway. 371 will be crossed within about the next minute to 2 minutes by this area of rotation. I show it 2 minutes away, but we're also overdue for a new scan to come in. My latest scan is as of 31, it looks like. So I should have a new scan any second. It'll be up here basically right south of Kirksville by that point. So near Kirkville is where we have our rotation. Let's go ahead and move this forward. Approaching Ramey Road and Donovan Road. It's Kirkville on the map here, where you have 370 and 371 that all kind of converge there right at the trace. So that's where this is, moving along and approaching eventually Moores Mill. This is Tennessee Tom Bigby Waterway. This will probably parallel the waterway as the waterway parallels the trace for a little while there. This is Doppler radar indicated rotation that could potentially at some point produce a tornado. Now it looks like the Weather Service has dropped their speed on this a little bit, because they got it all the way up to 45 for a minute there. They're down to 30. So let's adjust our tracks here for a moment down to 30. Okay, we still at 31? There we are. There's 33. There we are. There's a new scan. Okay, so right at 371. So let's track that, see if we get some folks in the path. We show Moores Mill in 18 minutes, 24 minutes to Bay Springs Lake. Let's clear that off, and let's continue tracking that. Tortish Mingo and Belmont. Let's make sure we get the best angle on that, make sure we've got the right one. That's pretty good there. So over top of Kirkville right now, Sandy Springs 12 minutes, Moore Mill in 18 minutes, Bay Springs Lake 25 minutes, Belmont 32 minutes, Tish Mingo in 40 minutes, Bloody Springs 44 minutes, Mingo in 46 minutes, Peppertown in 50 minutes, and Bishop Community in 52 minutes. This is Doppler radar indicated rotation on a storm that has produced multiple tornadoes over the last couple of hours. In fact, if I instead just widen this out, let's pull off the official reports there, and let's go to a 3-hour loop. Pretty obvious that we've been talking about one storm the whole time here. This is our storm right there, all the way up here to Kirkville. But watch it, all the way back to Calhoun City, right there. Calhoun City damage. Lifts for a little bit, maybe some there. Damage in southern Pontotoc, damage in Tupelo area, all the way up there. Probably the northeast Lee, we had reports of damage. So this has been an ongoing, off and on storm that's more on than off, unfortunately, been producing damage over the last few hours. Now, you probably noticed, maybe you heard behind the scenes here, that we no longer have the sirens going off. Of course, Lee County has been canceled from that tornado warning. The impacts from this storm are clearly north and east of that. If you're wondering, can you go to sleep? There are some thunderstorms back behind this that have developed in the last little bit here. They're not overly impressive. Something Chelsea's watching and looking kind of at some of the instability and some of the other things that we look at behind the scenes on that. Hopefully that continues to be the case. The description from the National Weather Service now upgraded once again to confirmed tornado. Let's check and see if that damage has popped back in. I'm not seeing it at this moment here. That's not to say I won't have another scan that comes in a second. So I'm going to try to change this over to our site out of Memphis for just a moment. Maybe I see something there. Less obvious. We're looking for Monroe County. Over Sandy Springs. So they have it on the front end there near Sandy Springs. Well, obviously it's close to Sandy Springs. Let's look at the debris mode. I'm not seeing the debris like I was just a minute ago. That's not to say it won't set back down here in a minute. But I would have it very near Donovan Road, kind of wrapping back around there. This is Walker Levee Road. Of course, Sandy Springs, as we were mentioning. This is Tennessee Tombigbee Waterway. And this is going to track along the waterway south of the Natchez Trace here toward Moores Mill area. This is County Road, I believe that'd be Prentice County Road 4301. It's moving your direction. Of course, lightning on the uptick this as well. Continuing to get reports in. This is some damage. This actually coming from Calhoun County. Let's see here who we have. Michelle from Calhoun County. So this shot from Michelle in Calhoun County of some damage to a gas station there. I mean, and you have part of it that's fallen, part of it that's wrapped around. I mean, you can see here how the pieces there have been pulled this direction. So your tornado is up north there, pulled that direction. Okay, so here is the definition. Hey, so Wayne, I don't know if we have anybody out checking on this.
We're about to go.
Okay, because we now have report apartment complex roof collapsed now. The description in Central Tupelo. Somewhere in Central Tupelo.
Yeah, we got trees on top of the house.
And we got trees on houses.
We're going out.
Sorry, Chelsea. Yeah, I know. It's one of the things we have to make sure of behind the scenes is that we're careful, we're safe, and we're doing what we ask people to do. You know, last thing we want to convince people to do is go out and look at stuff right now. That's the last thing we want to do. So our folks are trying to be safe, get our reports straight. There's plenty of time for us to report on it later. Have we touched base with Liz?
She just called me back.
Okay. Let's go ahead and get with her on a battle plan on who she wants to bring in when overnight to cover this for tomorrow.
Craig he said he will do a Facebook Live at some point.
Okay.
He's coming up 45 now.
Okay. We'll hear from him here in a little bit. So current time is 10:40. I'm Chief Meteorologist Matt Lawpon alongside our meteorologist Chelsea Brown. As you heard Wayne Herford a moment ago there, Sydney Darden, really everybody behind the scenes here at the WTVA 9 News Studios continuing to try to keep us on the air, number one, which thankfully has gone pretty well. And then, of course, bring you the best information that we can. What we're looking at here, this kind of upside down T, this is Prentice County. This is Tishomingo County. This is Itawamba County. And we're looking at a storm that has produced multiple tornadoes over the last 3 hours as it's moved through the Tupelo area, Calhoun City, southern Pontotoc County. We've had at least what we believe to be one tornado debris signature southwest of Kirksville. As we look at the debris mode on Storm Track Doppler radar, I don't know that I can say I have it now. And our rotation looks to be a lot broader than it was. Now we're looking a lot higher than we were. And so all of those questions that we had when this was out toward Grenada County, and we're like, well, is it not? And we start to get in all those, because at this distance away, we're now looking better part of a mile up. So I'm going to track the whole segment there that has a wind damage potential. We're going to track it ahead. Give me a moment while I kind of drag this out ahead there. So obviously Sandy Springs, we're pretty much on top of you right now. Moores Mill 1054. I want to adjust this ahead on that positioning for just a moment. And Chelsea, when you see those reports come in, go ahead and retweet them for me if you would.
Yes, I'm working on that.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it. I know that you're balancing a lot right now. By the way, Atmos, according to Public Service Commissioner Brandon Presley, Atmos Energy reports a natural gas leak in Calhoun City. None yet reported as a result of the tornadoes in Tupelo, thankfully. Appreciate him, always on top of this kind of stuff for the latest. Yes, you said?
Jolly just
Does Joel need to come in early? I don't know that we're going to continue coverage all night long. I think at some point we'll make a judgment call a little later. I say we bring him in normal time. We go from there. I mean, maybe just a hint earlier. Now their description of this still observed and considerable on the tornado here. I'm more concerned that this could maybe go through a cycle and maybe re-strengthen, but at this instant, I'm less concerned that I have a tornado for sure on the ground with this. I mean, there's a couple spots where that's rotating on the backside up here toward Mantachie, and really this looks like it's largely become more outflow dominant in the last few minutes here. We've had that consistent circulation right there, right? And as I kind of track that, that's kind of that part that's up there. Let's go back to wind mode here. Sandy Springs. See, that's kind of jutted out ahead. Let's go with the rainfall, see if there's enough there. Yeah, see, that's on the front side. So perhaps that could do something and try to wrap back up again. Let me retweet that real quick. I'm going to come back through some of our messages here and see what we have. Okay, so I think we're caught up on some of that stuff. I'm going to check and see damage pictures. We tend to have a lot of pictures of that kind of stuff. This looks like this Choctaw County report of damage here. Not a lot showing up. It does look like there's a little bit of damage to some trees there, as you can see, kind of knocked over. That from Choctaw County. Appreciate that picture. I'm gonna go back through a couple of these other damage reports. Patricia sitting in that one there. Another shot of the MDOT cam. There's another shot of Calhoun City.
I got a couple more things from Calhoun City.
Okay, go for it. Are you on 3?
It's just an email from the sheriff, Tanya, but from the sheriff. Light poles have been snapped off, trees in a few homes, trees on vehicles, damage to several businesses. Fortunately, no reports of injuries at this time. Okay, so there you go. Also, this is obviously an example. If we can make it through with no injuries on both of these, that would be a major blessing and a lot of answered prayers. Hopefully that's the way this ends up going. This is from the Calhoun City area as well. Looks like a different shot of that, of what we had there a minute ago, where we look at that gas station. So appreciate Michelle with that picture as well. I'm going to check. I think that's plenty of flooding rainfall coming in from some of these. Report coming in just a couple minutes ago, and let's pop this on here. Report of damage near Mantachie is where it was reported. Damage at the intersection of County Road 1435 and 1766. Hold on. We had 1766. It's right there. And 1435. Hold on. Is that right? Yeah, 1435. So that's 1766. I don't see 1435. I'm going to guess it's probably back that way. There's 1409, so we got to be getting close. But in this general area, I mean, that makes sense. That's where we felt we had the tornado that came through earlier, pretty much perfectly right there. Okay, let's stop that. Close. Sorry. Do you ever fight your phone and won't make it go away? I'm going to have to put my... This is going to change the angle for some folks there, but I'm going to try to put Facebook Live. Chelsea, trade me for just a second while I do this. Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna sneak over here for a moment. Just to feel.
You might be cutting it off. Your screen, I think it might have been cutting it off.
Probably.
Okay, taking a little bit of a wider look, kind of what we are tracking right now. We do have a tornado warning in effect for parts of Prentiss County, Tishomingo County.
Sorry.
Here.
Yeah, you're good. Go for it.
Tishomingo County and northern parts of Itawamba County from the storm that did just move through the Tupelo area right now. And really still that storm is pushed back right along that Itawamba-Lee County line, as that is still continuing to track closer. Well, no, because you don't have it all the way up. Nope.
Sorry, I was not on the current scan.
Yeah,
Sorry
I know. I figured that out. I was like, no, that's old. Sandy Springs up towards Moore Hill is where we are starting to see a little bit more of where that storm is settled, really into parts of really Prentiss County, Itawamba County, and then also Tishomingo County. You can see that line right there. As we continue to track this out, this tornado warning does go in effect until 11:15, and this is the same storm that did cause a lot of damage in the Tupelo area and we are continuing to work on getting damage reports and trying to get video of any damage that has happened in the Tupelo area, and really through many of the storms that we have seen throughout the rest of the afternoon and evening hours.
And if folks want to send us something, they can either email it to weather@wtva.com, tag at WTVA Weather on Facebook or Twitter, and that's one way in which they can send that along.
Yes, and let us know where that damage is, because that kind of helps us really assess the storm and really what happened, where it happened, and when it happened, kind of line all those things up. But right now, still continuing to track out this storm right here, that rotation really weakening, but it is continued to be into parts of really Tishomingo County and then northern Itawamba County, and this is going to be north of the Fulton area. So those folks at ICC, maybe they are south of where this is, but taking a little bit of a closer look on where some more of these roads that are about to see more of that storm moving into the area. We are seeing right there Ryan Salem Road over towards John Rankin Highway into parts of northern Itawamba County is where we are continuing to track this out. Seeing a little bit more of that rotation has weakened definitely since it was pushed back into Tupelo, but right now
Okay. Wayne Hereford with a quick reminder. It is not okay for folks to get out now. There are power lines down. You drive over that, it could electrocute you. It could electrocute someone trying to work on that. It's 10:49 on a Sunday night. What do you usually do at 10:49 on a Sunday night? You go to sleep. That's what you need to be doing if you live in the Tupelo area. It is not okay to get out right now. We need to let law enforcement do their thing so that we don't have additional fatalities to come from other ways. I know you want to help. The number one thing you can do for people right now is pray, and then tomorrow we get to clean it up.
Yeah, right now is definitely not the time to be just going out and trying to sightsee. So just really stay in your home, especially because it is dark and you are not really able to see any trees or power lines that are down, or maybe people that are maybe in the road a little bit trying to work on this. So just make sure you're staying at home right now. So just stay off the roads as we are continuing to track out some more of these storms right now into parts of northern Itawamba County and into parts of Tishomingo County as well. Right now the time is 10:50. I'm meteorologist Chelsea Brown alongside Chief Meteorologist Matt Lobhon. We are continuing to track out a storm that did cause really significant damage in the Tupelo area. Well, since it has weakened since moving out into parts of Itawamba County, you can see there around the Sandy Springs area, Moores Mill up towards parts of Tishomingo County. Right now, kind of getting a little bit of a closer look on where this is moving. Continuing to see that tracking up towards, you can see there along 25, it is still just west of those locations, and then getting closer towards the intersection of Ryan Salem Road and 25, Cleveland Adams Road along 25 as well. So if you are in those locations, once again, just go ahead and be in your tornado safe place, as this is still under a tornado warning until 11:15. So we are continuing to track this out right now while the rotation has weakened a lot since it was pushed back into parts of Tupelo. Let me take a look at the past few scans, kind of see. Matt, do you see that may, like, I don't know, kind of looks a little more organized the past couple of scans?
It does look a little organized.
Yeah, really where we're starting to see this. All right, yeah, right now we are seeing that maybe it is trying to continue to organize a little bit. And we have been tracking these storms out pretty much for all of the evening. And while they do weaken some, start to strengthen some. And then once again, go through that process once again. We may see it going through the process once again, maybe starting to strengthen a little bit. So if you are still under that tornado warning that is in effect for parts of Tishomingo County, northern Itawamba County, you still want to be in that safe place right now. Really, that is right along that Tishomingo Itawamba County line. You can see that getting closer towards 25 County Road 864 right there. We are continuing to track this closer, and they have this moving at, what's the speed on this? Sorry, let me try to scroll up and find the speed. 30 miles per hour is what the National Weather Service has this moving northeast at those locations. Can I take up a...
Nope, that didn't work.
Kind of get a few people on a track here. 10 minutes into the Belmont area. 23 minutes into the Bloody Springs area, 27 minutes into Pleasant Site, as that does continue to track through northern Itawamba County and then into parts of Tishomingo County and then moving out into parts of Alabama as well. It is late in the evening. If you know anybody in these locations, go ahead and give them a call, wake them up, tell them to get in their tornado safe place at this moment, because we are continuing to see this maybe over the past few scans maybe start to strengthen and show signs of a little bit more of that rotation right now. Still a lot of heavy rainfall, gusty winds. Even if we do not see a tornado, that could cause a lot of damage as well, because we have seen this rainfall, which makes the ground a little bit looser, maybe for trees easier to fall. Right now the time is 10:54. We are still tracking this tornado-warned storm in parts of Tishomingo County and in parts of northern Itawamba County. While this is definitely not as strong as it was back when it was in the Tupelo area, we have seen this really go through cycles of strengthening, weakening, strengthening, really repeating this process. So even if this is not as strong as the Tupelo storm, it could still strengthen here in the next few moments like we have been seeing, Matt.
New damage picture coming in the last few minutes here of this one from the Calhoun City area. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what that was. There's a lot of wood there. That's not exactly a good sign. So clearly something crumpled over. Maybe we'll get lucky and that was only like covered parking, something along those lines. But damage sent in the last few minutes is just a reminder of the fact that this is night. We only get a few pictures at night. We don't have a lot of folks sending it in. The light of day tomorrow is going to reveal a lot more.
And we have seen a lot of damage reports, even still new ones coming in from Calhoun City. So as we do continue throughout the overnight and into the morning time, we'll see more of kind of what damage we have seen as these storms have progressed through Tupelo and through Prentiss County, Itawamba County right now. We are continuing to track this out, though, into parts of Tishomingo and northern Itawamba County. This is in parts of northern Itawamba County, getting closer towards, really you can see there along 25, moving up into Tishomingo County, County Road 864, Patterson Chapel Road, Golden area, Belmont area here in the next few minutes. This storm will be making its way towards your area. National Weather Service still has this moving at about 30 miles per hour, moving north-northeast, and this does go until 11:15. Now let's take a look at the past couple of scans. To me, it doesn't look as strong the past couple of scans. I may be wrong though.
It looks like the shape is just kind of wrong.
Yeah.
Which I'm not going to complain about, but yeah, I mean,
yeah.
Apparently I can't stop talking. That's when my voice fails.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Kind of like right there is where it's looking at, maybe. I don't know if you can see the TV screen, sorry. Kind of like right here, is that where kind of that circulation is trying to form? Yeah, right along and north of County Road 867 and really southern parts of Tishomingo County is where this is trying to continue to see signs of rotation right now, but that is going to continue to track up towards Belmont and Golden area. Kind of let's get a track. Maybe that'll include those areas. Belmont here in the next 6 minutes, in the next 7 minutes into the Golden area. So once again, if you are in these locations, just go ahead and get in your safe place. You can kind of see what damage it has done in parts of Calhoun City and in parts of Tupelo. We have seen a lot of damage with those. So just go ahead and be in your safe place if you are in this tornado warning box, or in those locations, Belmont, Golden, really along 25 right there, going up into parts of northern Tishomingo County. Kind of clearing this out and taking a little bit of a wider look, that will continue to move through the Tishomingo County area, really along County Road 68, just north of Golden, Highway 366, Dickerson Road there near the Golden area is where you do need to be in your safe place. That will soon, probably in the next 10 to 15 minutes, or really closer to 20 minutes, be crossing over into parts of Alabama. Right now the time is 10:58. I'm meteorologist Chelsea Brown alongside Chief Meteorologist Matt Lawpon. What we are tracking out is some of these stronger storms, severe storms, actually tornado warned stormed into parts of Itawamba County and Tishomingo County. That does go until 11:15. This same storm system has caused damage back into parts of Tupelo. We have seen damage in the Calhoun City area with some of these storms throughout throughout previous hours into your earlier evening. With these reports of damage, once again, you can send those into us. Email weather@wtva.com, Facebook, Twitter. You can also send it to us there. But also, do not try to just go out and sightsee. Make sure just kind of stay at home with this, because in the morning time, we'll really be able to get a little bit more of that light. Just kind of let law enforcement handle what we are seeing out there right now. And right now, what we are still tracking is a tornado warned storm in parts of Tishomingo County and northern parts of Itawamba County. That is going to be moving through Itawamba County a little bit closer towards really 25 Fire Station Road, 25 up towards Tishomingo County and into Tishomingo County near Belmont and Golden area. Belmont already seeing a little bit of rainfall, really that heaviest rainfall just about to move into your area if it has not already moved into your area, because this scan could just be a few seconds old. As that does continue to track through the area, make sure you are in your tornado safe place. Once again, that is going to be a small room, lowest level of your home, interior room with no windows. Wrap up in pillows, blankets, a helmet if you have that, and just kind of be careful in that. Some more of those unsafe places, once again, are going to be a car, truck, mobile home, unsafe, room with any windows, large open rooms with that. We will continue to see, those are some more of the unsafe places. The Huntsville just went with significant weather advisory.
Okay, let's look at it. There's still a couple spots there.
Yeah.
I mean, considering what it's done, it hasn't done in a little while, but it's more than nothing.
Yeah.
Sorry. It's more than nothing. Let's just say that.
It is. And we have, oh, hopefully my voice doesn't
I was going to
go
say, better not go down that road.
Oh man, but we have seen these storms constantly through the evening hours, weaken, strengthen. I've said that a few times, but as we continue to see this, it could strengthen pretty quickly, like we did see with some more of these storms as they were pushed further back. So once again, if you are in this tornado warning box, go ahead and be in your safe place for Belmont, Golden area, up towards parts of Tishomingo County, a little bit further to the east. County Road 68, I believe that's what that is. Yes, County Road 68, Valley Road. They just adjusted that tornado warning storm to kind of take off a little bit about that was part into Prentiss County. So right now that tornado warning box does only include parts of Tishomingo County up towards Tishomingo, and then also really northern parts of Itawamba County. Still moving at 30 miles per hour northeast. This is radar indicated, and it could show signs of a little bit more rotation. Right now though, a lot of heavy rainfall, gusty winds still possible with this, and sometimes those winds can do just as much damage as a tornado sometimes. So once again,